If you're watching this video, then I'm going to assume that you are either a brand owner looking to invest in some SEO, looking to do it yourself, or you're just curious about SEO and you're trying to figure out why it's so expensive or why it's so cheap and why you're not getting any results with your current agency. So in this video, I just wanted to break that down, talk about three different things: the SEO expenses that you're actually paying for, cheap versus expensive SEO and what you can kind of expect there. And then finally, when you should use SEO and when you should invest in it, and then which you should choose, being a cheap or an expensive alternative. So let's jump in. So first I wanted to talk about the SEO expenses, right? So you'll hear this, and I've said this plenty of times, SEO is free. Now that is true to some extent. You're not paying for every click that you're getting. And when people say SEO is free, that's what we mean. We mean that, paid ads, Google ads, Facebook ads, whatever it may be, every click that you get, you are paying that platform to get that click. With SEO, that's not the case. You can get as many clicks as you want and it's not going to cost you anything. However, that does not mean SEO is free. Whether you do it yourself or whether you pay someone like me to do it for you, there are going to be expenses. And so some of those expenses I've listed here. First of all, the main one is being tools. So I use Ahrefs, but SEMrush and Moz and other tools like that to actually use and get SEO data. They cost money, and they cost quite a bit of money as well when you're paying for these more expensive tools. So if you're paying an agency, more than likely you're covering a bit of that expense, right? Now, if you're doing SEO yourself and it's just for your brand, if you're a small brand, you can probably get away with not paying for these tools just yet. There's a few free tools that you can use. Google Search Console has obviously got some good data, and you can use Google Keyword Planner to find some keywords and things like that. However, if you are, have an in-house team or you're paying an agency, more than likely you're going to need at least one of these tools so you can really delve deep into your SEO strategy. And as I said, they cost money and they're expensive, so that's what you're paying for. Secondly is just operating expenses, other tools, tax, things like that. Running a business is not free and it's not cheap, and so there are other operating expenses that you need to pay for. If you're doing SEO yourself, maybe there's a few less operating expenses because everything's kind of in-house. But again, this is part of what you're paying for when it comes to SEO. Now, the other one, which a lot of people don't really think about, is backlinks. Now, links cost money. Everyone pays for links. It's just how it is. You either pay for the tools to outreach and find them, or you're paying a platform to get links for you, or you're paying the websites themselves to get you links. And links are crucial to SEO. You need links to make sure that you rank higher on Google, and backlinks cost money. And so when it comes to backlinks, you can kind of pay for as many as you want. You can pay for very little or you can pay for a lot. And so depending on your agency and depending on what package, I suppose, you're getting with them, that's going to determine how much money they're investing into links, right? So for me, I allocate about 20 to 30% of the fee that a client pays me towards getting backlinks. So it goes straight back into the business. So as an owner, or as an agency owner or a studio owner, that money doesn't come to me. That goes straight back into your business. And so that's where, and if you're doing this yourself, you need to pay for links. And so that's where a lot of the money will go, is to the time and the effort and also the actual fee to get backlinks. And so that's a big expense that comes out of SEO. And then finally, it's just your time. Time's worth money. And so this is where a lot of people will think that, paying for a cheaper SEO provider is going to be better off. But in reality, an expert or a higher level exec is not going to spend the time if you're only paying them $1,000 or $1,500 a month, because they're going to pay a junior to do that. And so obviously the junior doesn't know as much. They're not as good at SEO. That's just a fact. They're obviously not in the game as long. And so, if you're paying $1,500 or something, then after all these expenses, there's not that much money left to then put towards the actual time it takes to do SEO effectively. Now you need, 10, 20, 30 hours at least on one client or on one business per month to be doing SEO. You could probably spend way more than that as well. So think of that. If you're spending, let's say, 20 hours a month, then after all these expenses, there's not that much money left to pay someone to actually do the work for you, write the content, do the outreach and everything like that. And so they're going to pay a junior to do it. The quality is going to be less, or even worse, they're going to pay someone overseas to do it. Nothing against overseas people, but obviously, you're paying for cheap labor, you're going to get cheap results. And that's the biggest thing, that having less money to allocate towards someone to do it, you're just going to get less results less SEO results as a result. So that's a little rundown of the SEO expenses. And I just wanted to quickly give you an example of that as to how this equates to an SEO fee, right? So if we can do this together. Let's say you pay someone $1,500 a month to do SEO for you. Now, $1,500 is not much, not at all, especially in Australia. But if we run with that, because this is on the cheaper side, and think if we're doing anything less than that, you can kind of figure it out yourself. If you're paying someone $1,500 a month, right? The tools to run SEO cost hundreds of dollars a month. So let's say that a client will allocate 100, 150 to covering all the tools. So now we're down to $1,350 left over. Once you've got your operating expenses, your tax, your other fees and things that you need, that's probably going to go down to about $1,000 left over. Then if you're actually doing it properly, you're going to be allocated some money towards backlinks. Again, if we do like 20 to 30%, which is what I try and do, then that probably goes down to about $800, maybe even less. So you've got $800 a month left over to then actually pay someone to do the SEO work for you. Now, if we say that you need 20 hours a month, which again is not that much to actually get a proper SEO campaign. So if we allocate $20 to you for doing the SEO, let's say they're paying a junior $30 an hour, which is pretty minimum wage here in Australia these days. And so once you do that, you get to about $200 left over after you pay someone to do it. So that's $200 in business profit to take a client on for an SEO campaign. Now that's not much money at all. If you're a business owner, you're not going to you need hundreds of clients to make any decent profit off that, right? And this just gives you an idea as to, if you're paying someone $1,000 or $1,500, you can't really expect very good results if there's not that much money left over for the business to actually invest into your brand, right? So that's a little bit of an idea as to what the expenses are with SEO, which now takes me to the next thing, which is cheap versus expensive SEO. As I just kind of touched on, there are different things that you get when you pay for cheap and when you pay for expensive. When it comes to cheap SEO, you're getting either shitty or no backlinks at all. As I said, there's not much money there, so they're either going to pay someone really cheap to get you some backlinks, which could penalize your site, or they're just not going to invest in backlinks at all, and they're just going to do content for your site. Then as well, they're going to probably pay a junior to do it for you, or again, pay someone overseas a really cheap fee to do the SEO for you. So again, you're probably not getting as much experience into your SEO strategy. Second of all, there could be people, especially if you go on like Fiverr or something like that, and you're paying someone $500 to do your SEO, they're probably going to be using some black hat spammy techniques. And what this means basically is they're really easy to do. Well, not so much easy, but they're manipulative to do, and a lot of people can do them really easily. And so they say that they can get all these things for you, but in reality, there's only a matter of time before that ruins your site completely. And so then as a result of all of this, you're probably going to get pretty little results. And so what it means is you're going to invest $1,000, $1,500 a month for however long, 6 months, 12 months, hoping that something's going to happen. And then at the end of the day, you end up in the same spot that you were 12 months ago because, you paid for cheap SEO thinking you were getting a deal. So then we jump over to the more expensive SEO. Obviously, you're going to get higher quality links. And then the more money you put into a campaign, then the more quality links that you can get. Because again, the links cost money for the outreach and for the actual links themselves. You're hopefully going to get a more specialist or expert working on the campaign. That's what happens when you work with me. I work on these campaigns directly myself. So if you're paying someone like me to do it for you, you get to work directly with the owner rather than a junior. So that's a benefit. Hopefully purely white hat techniques. So rather than doing all these spammy things, it's all legit what Google wants, just focusing on quality content and quality links and getting you some good results. And exactly that, getting some amazing results, just like these ones. This is a client of mine that we've recently been working with. And after taking them on for a little while, we've started to see some uptick, which is really great. So that's a bit of a breakdown as to cheap versus expensive SEO and what you can expect. Now, finally, which should you choose? Well, first of all, I think that you should be doing SEO yourself if you are a smaller brand. By smaller brand, I mean, if you don't have money to invest into ads in the first place, and you don't have money to invest into marketing in general, SEO should not be the first thing that you invest in, because people need to understand who your brand is before they start searching for you. Now, obviously, if you're a very search heavy brand, maybe this isn't the case, but for 90% of brands out there, you should be investing in paid ads before you start doing SEO. And That doesn't mean you can't do SEO yourself, but before you start to pay someone to do it for you and start to pay thousands of dollars a month for it, you should be doing it yourself. So you can watch videos like mine on YouTube just to learn about different techniques. A lot of things are easy, they just take some time. And so once you kind of understand the principles, you can kind of chip away at it and get some good results. Then secondly, if you have paid agencies or paid for yourself to do some ads, and you're running some ads and you're getting some good results, that's when I think you should start to invest in SEO and start to really look at someone to do it for you. Because if you're a brand owner, you're obviously spread thin, and if you have a team, there's only so many things that they can do and you can do, and so it's going to be much better if you can then pay someone to do the SEO for you. Now, obviously, you want to make sure that you're getting the right provider, so check them out, make sure that they're legit, and make sure that they're actually getting good results for other people as well. And then I would be hesitant. I don't want to say cheaper is better or more expensive is better, but just be hesitant with what their fee is compared to how they back it up. Now, for myself, when I started out and even now, I charge less than I should be because I don't have as many clients, and so therefore I'm trying to get some more case studies. So there are people like that are going to be charging less, but they get you quality results. On the other side, there are probably big agencies that will charge you $3,000 to $5,000 a month, but they're still handing you down to juniors, and you're probably not going to get as good results. So you got to take your own discretion there and just figure out who the best provider is for you. But when it comes to SEO, I like to think that SEO is very front heavy. And what I mean by this is you are much better off to spend, say, $5,000 a month for the first 6 months and then drop that back to a $2,000 to $3,000 a month fee, then do, say, $1,500 or $2,000 a month for 18 to 24 months, hoping you get the same results. The reason for that is if you can invest more money early, more money into backlinks, more money into content and so forth, that's just going to propel your site much faster than it is over the long term. So if you can invest that money into that first 6 months and really go hard with SEO in those first couple of months, then the next couple of years are going to yield massive results for you. And this is why SEO is such a high ROI investment. Like, obviously for the first couple of months, maybe it's not, but for the next couple of years to come, you are reaping the rewards of that early work that is done. And so that's what I think you should do. You should choose when the right time is for you, and then find the right provider. If you're an Australian and you're in e-commerce, I'm that guy. I could be your right provider. Click the first link in the description. We can have a chat, and I can hopefully get you some amazing results as well. But that gives you an idea as to when and why you should choose SEO. So there you go. I hope that gives you a bit of an understanding as to why SEO could be cheap or expensive, what kind of goes into it, and when you should be choosing it. As I said, my name is Zach. I run an SEO studio here in Australia. We help e-commerce brands get amazing results with their SEO. So if you want to work with me, click the first link in the description and you can book a call. If not, subscribe. I make videos like this every single day, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.